The crash echoed through the pines like a gunshot, splintering the quiet of my mountain retreat. My cabin door, handcrafted from cedar I'd cut myself, lay in ruins on the porch. Standing over it, Karen Whitmore, our HOA's self-appointed enforcer, glared at me with a smirk that could curdle milk. Her manicured nails clutched a clipboard, her designer coat screaming wealth, her eyes dripping with contempt. "You're done, Jake," she spat, voice sharp as a blade. "No one defies my rules. You're under citizen's arrest for that unapproved firewood stack." I stood frozen, my sanctuary violated, her accusation absurd. This wasn't about firewood. It was personal. She hated me since I moved here, a loner who didn't bow to her petty tyranny. Karen had ruled our small mountain community like a dictator, her HOA regulations a noose around everyone's freedom. My cabin, tucked away on the edge of the ridge, was her latest obsession. She'd been hounding me for months, first about my truck's oil stains, then my unauthorized garden. The firewood stack was just her latest excuse. Iti ignored her emails, her finis, her lights. Now, she'd escalated to breaking down my door, claiming some warped vigilante justice. Her entitlement was suffocating, her belief that she could arrest me laughable, until I saw the crowbar in her hand and the deputy she'd dragged along, a nervous kid named Tim who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. "Karen, this is insane," I said, stepping onto the porch, my boots crunching on broken wood. "You can't just destroy my property." Her laugh was venomous. "Watch me." The truth unraveled like a bad dream. Karen had spun a tale to the sheriff's office, claiming I was running an illegal operation out of my cabin: drugs, weapons, who knows what. She'd convinced Deputy Tim I was a threat, using her charm and connections to bend him to her will. The firewood stack? A flimsy pretext to justify her crusade. She'd always seen me as an outsider, a scruffy carpenter who didn't fit her vision of a pristine community. I'd heard whispers of her bullying others, fining Mrs. Larson for her wildflower garden, threatening Old Man Jenkins over his rusty mailbox, but this was next level. She'd cross a line, and my home was collateral damage. As she ranted about upholding standards, I noticed a shadow move inside my cabin. My guest. Karen had no idea who she was dealing with. Enter Agent Daniel Holt, the twist in this nightmare. I met him a week ago at a local diner, where he'd been asking about the area's old logging trails. Turns out, he was a federal investigator quietly staying at my cabin while tracking a smuggling ring. I'd offered him my spare room off the books, just a favor. He was low-key, intense, the kind of guy who spoke little but saw everything. Now, as Karen waved her crowbar and Tim fumbled with his radio, Holt stepped out, his badge catching the fading light. "Ma'am, put that down," he said, voice calm but steel-edged. Karen froze, her smugness flickering. "Who are you?" she demanded, eyeing his suit like it was an insult. Holt didn't blink. "FBI, and you're trespassing on private property." The confrontation exploded like a storm. Karen's face twisted in disbelief, her authority challenged. "This is HOA business," she shrieked, jabbing a finger at Holt. "You have no jurisdiction here." Holt's calm was unnerving. He pulled out his phone, already dialing. Breaking and entering, destruction of property, false accusations to law enforcement, that's my jurisdiction. Deputy Tim, sweating now, stammered, "I didn't know she'd do this, sir." Karen's lies began to crumble. She told Tim I was armed, dangerous, a menace. But Holt had been in my cabin all week, knew it was just me, my tools, and a stack of firewood. He'd seen no evidence of her wild claims. As he spoke to his supervisor, Karen's bravado cracked. She tried doubling down, accusing Holt of being a fraud, but Tim was already backing away, sensing the tide turning. Then came the twist nobody saw coming. Mrs. Larson, the quiet widow from down the road, appeared at the edge of my property, her hands trembling but her voice steady. "I recorded everything," she said, holding up her phone. She'd been watching from her porch, fed up with Karen's reign of terror. The video showed Karen smashing my door, ranting about teaching me a lesson. It was damning proof of her malice, her lies, her abuse of power. The crowd that had gathered neighbors drawn by the commotion gasped. Jenkins muttered, "She tried to fine me for my dog barking last week." Another neighbor chimed in. "She threatened to tow my car for parking on my own lawn." Karen's empire was unraveling, her victims finding their voices. Karen's collapse was swift and brutal. Holt's supervisor arrived, a no-nonsense woman who took one look at the shattered door and Karen's crowbar and read her the riot act. "You're looking at felony charges," she said, cuffing Karen as the crowd murmured. Karen's face went from smug to ashen, her designer heels scuffing the dirt as she was led to the patrol car. She screamed about lawsuits, her rights, her status, but no one listened. Tim apologized profusely, admitting Karen had pressured him into this mess. Mrs. Larson's video was the final nail shared online within hours. It went viral, exposing Karen's tyranny to the world. The HOA board, humiliated, stripped her of her position that night. Her reign was over, her reputation in tatters. As the dust settled, I stood on my porch, staring at the wreckage of my door. Holt clapped a hand on my shoulder. "You'll get a new one," he said, a rare smile breaking through. "And she'll get what's coming." Mrs. Larson brought me coffee the next morning, her quiet courage a reminder that even the meek can shift the tide. The community rallied, offering to help rebuild, their fear of Karen replaced by a newfound unity. I realized this wasn't just about my door, it was about standing up to bullies, about truth winning out. Karen's downfall wasn't just justice, it was a wake-up call. We'd all let her power go unchecked for too long. In the end, the cabin felt more like home than ever. The new door, built with help from neighbors, stood stronger than the last. Karen faced charges, her name a cautionary tale whispered in HOA meetings. Life moved on, quieter, freer. But the question lingers. When does authority cross into abuse? Where do you draw the line between rules and tyranny? Share your thoughts. What would you have done in my shoes? Facing a Karen with a crowbar? Let's talk about what's right, what's wrong, and how we stand up when it matters most.